It's been said by the great philosopher from Catskill, New York, Michael Gerard Tyson, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And everyone in the local area around the Very Terrible podcast got punched in the mouth with a Category 5 hurricane. We've been gone for 2 months. We'll get into everything as best we can. We've got Gators games, we've got chaos and hurricanes, and we've got what's coming up next in the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's the Very Terrible podcast. So it's been 2 months, and we've been gone. The last time we were all together, we were getting ready for football season, and we had bought tickets to the Florida Gators game. And there's so much to catch up on. So much. It's been 2 months. And we've been away not willingly and not of our own choice for 2 months. So I'm going to attack everything in just chronological order. I guess that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, so when we left the show last, we were doing very terrible predictions going into college football. B-Spike on the mic was knocking out home runs left and right with her football picks, doing nothing more than picking the opposite of me, which really speaks volumes of high gambling ability and gambling skill. But yeah, so we bought some tickets to Gainesville, and we're going to go see the America's team, the USF Bulls, take on the Florida Gators up at Gainesville at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. And we had a really, really great package put together. We got hotel room, game tickets, had, I overly planned it with an itinerary and schedule of fun because you can't have fun unless it's regularly scheduled. And so we get together and we go through our big football trip, and it was just B-Spike and I, doing a father-daughter thing up there. Had no idea what we were going into. I've seen Gainesville on a map, and we drive to Tampa all the time. Going up to Gainesville was twice as long. 2 hours up to Tampa, another 2 hours out up to Gainesville. And this is where you find out that Florida has hills, which I thought was really interesting. You drive for flats for so long down here in the southwest corner of the state. We get up in there, and we're, the middle of the state, I guess I'd call it. And then, up in Gainesville, and there's hills. My God, hills I haven't seen since I left New York State as a kid. But, we get all the way up there, and we find our hotel that, with most other hotels, they look great on paper. Beautiful hotel, my God, it was a suite, large bedroom, living room area, personal kitchen. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. And you get up, we get it there to the as soon as you hit the front counter, and this is our first away game experience, and we really swung for the fences on the away game experience, because not only did we go to an away game as USF fans, we went to an away game of more than likely one of, if not the most popular team in Florida. So, a cult following, nothing short of a cult following, into this small, quite shitty looking little city of Gainesville. And everything revolves around that campus. All of their economy, all of the economy of that just flows right from the campus. We get up there, we check in, and the first thing out of their mouth, well, who are you rooting for? Oh, son of a bitch. Okay, yeah, so we told a few people we're rooting for the Bulls, and they boo us as we go to our room. We get to our room, we get to the door, which is held together. It's been worked on. You could just tell. The knob was loose and the hinges were loose, and it made me feel good that Bella and I were just together, and it was going to be fine. So. We get up to the room, and it was fine. It had a kitchen. The fridge was broken. That wasn't as big as anywhere near the pictures. I wish she were here she's out with her friends tonight, but I wish she were here to tell you about this bed. We'll have to bring it up on a future episode. This bed was like laying on plywood, but she loved it. She thought this is the greatest bed ever. And it's like the Hilton series, baseline bullshit model that they put in all their hotels. So she sits on this mattress, and I'm figuring the first thing I'm going to do is hear a complaint. And she smiles from ear to ear and says, I love this mattress. It's the best. So much to my surprise, that's the way that started, which was fantastic. Otherwise than that, it had everything we needed. It had a pool. It had the room. You're not there for the hotel room anyway. We met Dave up there from the original Jason and Dave's Very Terrible podcast. Dave met us up there. And he had a room, I think it was just on the other side of the hotel. Same hotel, same everything. Dave travels a lot for his work, so he used points and things like that, so he didn't have to pay much out of pocket to do all this whole trip. We get up, the first day, the day, it's pretty much the day before the game's when we get up. We go to the day of the game. It's a night game. And then we go home the next morning. So during the day before the game, we explore the city. Dave's wife graduated college up there, so she was able to give us pointers and tips and where to go and where to eat. Fantastic tips, too. Without these tips, I would definitely never go back. But she was able to point us in the right direction of these fancy little pizza places and things like that, where to go. We went shopping up at a Target, had lunch at a restaurant, and it is just the proverbial college town. I mean, this is where all the kids go when their parents are away. I'm sure there's not a dress code anywhere, because if there was a dress code, it would be bikini tops and grass skirts, and the guys just walk around topless all day. And that's just it. Inside, outside, restaurants, Targets, doesn't matter. Everyone is college kids age and naked, so God bless them. They can still pull it off. So that was good. We had a delicious pizza dinner at this little hipster pizza place, and I'll try to get pictures up on the Facebook page. Go through, have a delicious pizza, all this stuff, and then it's going to be time to go get ready for the game. So we get Ubers, because I don't know much about this. I mean, the only research we did was we were able to go on the Ticketmaster and a couple of little websites here and there, and they have a bus. I think it was called the Gator or something like this, and it's 4 or 5 stops around the city, and a school bus, real big bus, but a bus takes you back and forth if you don't feel like parking. We used Uber, which was also interesting in and of itself, because whether it's geographic or whether I'm spoiled, you expect to get a clean car with a halfway normal driver. So we get into this first one. It's a beat up 1990 Chevy Impala that hasn't been vacuumed since the 1990s, with a man who is so into telling us about his barbecue business that he went like this back ass route and got us halfway completely lost. But needless to say, Dave from the podcast runs a page called Florida Man Barbecue. And you can look that up on Facebook. Florida Man Barbecue is Dave and all the stuff that he does with his grills and smokers and recipes he has. So this guy is going off about his barbecue business, and it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And Dave doesn't say a word, just going with the flow. Sits there like, all of his pictures we got in the car. He's like, yeah, it's crap. So this guy, he's so proud of himself. He didn't care about even his. He actually parked, and I guess I understand why, because when you're doing Uber, you got to get more customers. But he only got us like a mile away from the stadium. Like, we wanted to go to the stadium. He got us a mile away. Either way, had a fun walk, going through the fraternities, sororities, dorm housing, all the way up into Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, which I'd learned before we got there that it's a huge stadium. And I'm really looking forward to keep taking these trips to see some of these other ones. So we've been spoiled with Raymond James. Raymond James seats about 66 to 68,000 people. Premier NFL, yada, 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 yada. And I went, oh, okay, well, it's got a bunch of people in it. And when we go to Bulls games, it's never full, so you never really get the full effect of... I've been to Bucks games where they've been full, and you can feel the power of the people in there. And we get to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, and we get there very early, which is always my style to do, very early. We get there and do a 360 of the stadium, take pictures, do all the fans stuff that they say, hey, while you're here, you got to try. Very minimal, I don't even know what to call it, like swag tents. They have the tents that when you go to Raymond James, it's a huge area, just like Verizon, AT&T, all the corporate sponsors. Everybody's got a tent and giveaways and games and parties and all this other crap. Very few up at Gainesville. I don't know, just because they realize that the college kids don't have much money or whatever it is, but they had just a very small handful of tents. We go through, we get a few things. We hit the fan store. There was really nothing overly particular in there. Fun fact, we had to decide how to dress. So going back to our earlier experience when we were in the hotel getting ready to check in and being booed at the check-in desk, I thought to myself, okay, well, the idea is I'm here to see an away game. I'm here to watch a football game, regardless of who's playing. Yes, we're Bulls fans, but at the same token, I don't feel like getting into a fight with drunk college kids when it's just my daughter, my buddy, and I, and we're all just kind of sitting here, and I don't feel like going to jail. So we're going to dress up in very base, neutral, Gator-ish colors. So, I picked a plain blue t-shirt with, what the hell did I have on? Khaki shorts and and I think I had an old Gators visor from when I first moved to Florida. I pulled out of the back of the closet for just this day. Now, if you remember from the old podcast days when Eric was on the show, he's a huge Gators fan, drabbed in Gators garbage there. So I was just the novelty. I always kept that. So I had my Gators visor, blue t-shirt, and khaki shorts. She had on just something completely not even team colors whatsoever. And Dave had on Gators stuff. He's a Gators fan. So he had on a blue shirt and his Gators hat. We get in line, and just by chance, and what a wonderful opportunity this one was. We lined up at the gate that is in front of the players' entrance. So tradition, and when you're going to these bigger colleges, they've got traditions and little rituals and things that they do, and the Bulls really don't. They have a couple of little songs that they sing. There's they drop the kids off the bus. Same thing. Gators drop the kids off the bus. It's flooded with people. I mean, just flooded with people. And let's see, the head coach's name is Billy Napier, I think it is. And, he just walks right up next to us, and, very nice. And, all the players come in dressed in their suits, and some of the parents are there and all that sort of stuff. It was really cool to see everybody up close. And then you realize just the size difference. And, being that we've met the Bulls a few times, they're bigger than me. They're bigger than everybody, the adults we know. But then you get to these other kids at a bigger school, and man, they're monsters. And you're just like, oof, this is not going to go well for the Bulls. They go in. See that? The joy of having your phone hooked up to the podcast is you're going to hear dings, because that's how that goes. So all the players make their way in. We're going to be the first ones in the gate, on and on and on. And in typical, very terrible podcast fashion, something has to go wrong. So the one of the ticket scanners on the way in takes a dump. It has to be the one for our line. They expect us to go just pick another ticket scanner and go back in line. Well, here's the problem is everybody wants to get in. Nobody wants to let you in. You literally have to push and shove to get your ticket scanned to get in to get to the stadium. Push, shove, get everybody in. Okay, fine. So we're going to our seats. Now, what happened was on this is that I purchased tickets in one corner of the stadium where Dave had his tickets that were given to him by his boss over on the other side of the stadium, which were really, really nice seats. They had them, I think we were in the upper decks. Dave was in the lower bowl area. So in doing this, we got to our seats, and once again, I'll put all the pictures that we can find that are relevant up on Facebook. This is my first time in this stadium. So this stadium seats 88,000 plus. So now you're looking at an extra at least 20 to 25,000 people on top of what I would have experienced in a full Raymond James. And this place was full. This place had full, and they were excited to be there. And what they were going to walk into like in this nice, easy game. Walked over, sat in Dave's seat for a while, take some pictures, walked back over to our seats. Now, Amalie Arena is Tampa Bay hockey. And in Amalie Arena, a hockey arena, at least from my experience, man, when they build these things, there's a pitch. You walk into a hockey arena, you feel like you're going to fall into the ice half of the game if you're up in the upper decks, because they've got to pitch it in such a way where you can get that many seats in and still be able to see the ice. Well, I'll be damned. This is the football stadium is the same way. Go on the outside of the stadium to the upper deck, 3, 4, 5 stories up in the air. And you walk out, and the vertigo just hits you, and you feel like you're going to fall into the field. It was absolutely amazing. But just a giant, monstrous stadium. It's just more. They put a seat absolutely everywhere, so anyone and everyone can fit in. So we had to go through, take our pictures, do our things. It was shock and awe, really shock and awe. So that was kind of cool. And, they get in and everybody sits in their seats, and then all of a sudden, like, you can feel the building shaking. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And everybody starts getting up and getting excited. On big plays, you'd feel the building shaking. I thought that was really cool. Just the way you can get that many people into one place and have it all work out. But they get this thing, and I've got the audio from it. Now, this is going to be off of YouTube, so I'm sure I'm violating all kinds of copyright laws, but I don't care. They got this thing called Mr. Two Bits. I didn't know this was coming. This thing is Mr. Two Bits. They announce, all right, everybody, it's time for Mr. Two Bits. And everyone starts going ape shit wild. I'm like, what the fuck is a Mr. Two Bits? Well, they get this guy come out, and apparently the longer version of the story, which I had to do research on after I was back, is I think it was in the 1970s. They didn't have much of a following. This guy who named himself Mr. Two Bits comes up and does this chant, and over the years has become a part of the staple of their tradition and rituals and things that they do. So every game, because the original Mr. Two Bits is passed on, there's an honorary Mr. Two Bits. So they get in and they've got this tennis player. I have no idea who the hell he is, but apparently he's a tennis player. He graduated out of Florida and he must be pretty decent. Everyone is losing their minds that this tennis player is here. Oh my God, it's whatever the hell his name is. This guy walks out. He's wearing a t-shirt with a tie on it. And this is going to be the audio. Now, the audio we got is for the day that Steve Spurrier did this 6 years ago, I guess. So they come out, the guy gets out and there's mannerisms that he does. So this Mr. Two Bits, whoever it is that day, wearing a yellow shirt with a red tie design on it. It's not even an actual tie. Goes up and he points to one side and they go, 2 bits, and then they go to the other side, 4 bits, and then they do this little song and dance. If you get time, just type it into YouTube, Mr. Two Bits Gators or some shit. I was blown away. I'm like, what in the hell is this? So here's the audio from 2 Bits. So that's what that is. It's this ridiculous ass thing. Like I said, he gets up in there and he points it one way, and it's 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1, all for the Gators. Stand up and holler. They are losing their minds over this tennis player doing this. But it was kind of cool, and then it made me realize how much the USF has to catch up on. Like, at least they've got something. At least they've got a 2 bits. We've got nothing. We don't even have a head coach anymore. So, but I thought that was interesting. That was kind of cool, you know. And as the game went on, and just a quick wrap up of the game, the Bulls really did. The Bulls, minus the 2 field goals that they screwed up, would have won the game, which was absolutely great, because at least that way we got out of there being able to enjoy it and not having to worry about fights and everything else, because all the Gators fans that were there, most of them left early, and the other half didn't want to talk about it. I think the Gators only won by a couple points. So it was a fantastic game, fantastic experience. It was a long drive, but absolutely worth it. Some quality father-daughter time, and hopefully we can get back to traveling again next football season. So shortly thereafter, which brings us to the next fun event that's happened since we've been together last, is that the football game's going. Okay, the football game is over. Next week, whatever. All of a sudden, there's a hurricane coming. Okay, no big deal. And so you'll be able to look back in the history books on this one for Hurricane Ian hitting Southwest Florida. It was a monster. It was one of those hurricanes that, it's hurricane season. We had a whole quiet hurricane season, very hot summer. All of the flags were there. Nobody really paid attention. At least I know I didn't. The charts come out. It's coming right for Southwest Florida. I'm like, well, this is fine, because whenever the chart first comes out, most times it is way off, and it'll move and it'll go one way or the other, and you're going to be fine. You almost root for yourself to be in the first chart, because the first chart's always wrong. Well, I'll be damned, the first chart was about spot on. Now, it did its song and dance where it was going for Southwest Florida, then it's going for Tampa, then it's going for Tallahassee, and there's a son of a bitch in cold front that came straight down out of Georgia, and it took it, and it shoved it directly to the right when it was lateral to us, and complete Armageddon is the only way I could describe it. Working for the fire department, we stayed there for, I want to say it was 3 days straight, and then a modified schedule, and it just, there's nothing that could do it justice. We can put up pictures, we can hopefully people will share stories, but just absolute and utter destruction. And it came at night. It was dark out. The whole day you're waiting, and then the thing hits. Everything was wiped out. Absolutely everything. Power, water, internet, cell phone, everything gone. I mean, it was absolutely gone. Roadsides gone, people's houses flooded. If you ever look at the city of Cape Coral on a map, it's just a peninsula, and the bottom third of the peninsula was just gone. And it's been a hell of a trip. It's been one hell of a rebuild. A lot of negatives, but some positives came out of it. We at the house here were really lucky. Very minimal damage. Today, I think, is the 2 month. Yeah, today's the 2 month anniversary of that fucking storm. And 2 months later, minus some cosmetics, some paint. All of our repairs are done. Power came back so soon, and the linemen, LCEC, FPL, everybody that came from around the state, around the country to help out, did an outstanding job. Absolutely outstanding. They were staged before it came in, knowing it was going to come. We went. I think I'd say it was probably a week and a half without power. And the thing is, we had Hurricane Irma in 2017. I remember Hurricane Irma. I thought the power was out even longer than this one was, but the destruction was nowhere near what we had on this one. Yeah. So like the linesmen were really the truest of all the heroes during all this. Got our power back relatively soon. Internet was quite an issue. There will be people still, as we do this 2 months later, there are people still without internet. Houses that have been wiped out, destroyed, obviously don't have power. They told us originally the forecast for us to get internet back was going to be February. So for us to be able to get this podcast back up and running today on November 29th is just a huge deal. And all the credit to those people. They are just monsters. They just stay day and night and work around the clock and just nobody stops. It's amazing. But ultimate destruction. Never seen anything like it. Hope to never see anything like it again. I have friends that are on the south side of the city that just don't have homes anymore. There are houses that are gone, restaurants that are gone, buildings that are gone. If you ever look into the city of Fort Myers Beach, it is gone. Everything that was on or near the water became part of the water. Mother Nature's pissed. So Mother Nature's pissed at us, and she gave us a punch in the mouth. And just like we said earlier, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Then it's time for plan B. But so very fortunate. We've got such good family, such good friends. A huge shout out to our family, Josh Berry, who owns South Florida Lift Stations. So free plug out to South Florida Lift Stations, who was able to take in Lori and Bella and the dog while I was away at work, and just took care of them. I mean, they had everything ready to go. They were very, very prepared, and they are the best preparing people I've ever met. So they did a great job. They took care of me while I needed a place to stay, and when the days I did get to come home. So they took me in, they took the girls in, they took the dog in, and just the most wonderful people. So special shout out to them. And if you need any lift station help, call Josh at South Florida Lift Stations. And I don't have the number quite handy, but we'll look it up. So that's what we've been up to. It's been quite a challenge. It's been very humbling, to say the least, to not realize all the things we took for granted. And now to make sure that every day you wake up thankful that you have what you have, and you get another shot in the batter's box at life. So the fire service was under a huge challenge. Fire, police, utilities, the water department was just getting hammered, because not only did people not have electric, then they didn't have water. And then once they got them the water, somehow they couldn't get the lift stations to run, so they had to put generators on lift stations. We had sewer in the streets. It was just absolute and utter chaos. But 2 months later, we're getting back to looking like a city. Stoplights are still completely screwed up. There's some things that are, the road signs are still twisted. Every stop sign is sideways. I don't know how everyone just turned 90 degrees and not 180 or whatever it was. But yeah, a lot of opportunity still left, a lot of work still left to do, but everybody's got an all-in mentality, getting everything done. So we're really glad we're back here with you. And as always, we've got our email, jdvtpodcast@gmail.com, Facebook page, Instagram page, and all kinds of good stuff. Otherwise than that, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what we can do. If you have any topics you want to talk about, anything like that. Once again, we're so thankful to be here with you and to be back. It is just me by myself today, and it's been a very terrible podcast.